the people. We have now a client. They have a budget reduction program. They have the yearly employee conversations, and we prepared the managers for the leadership appraisals. I said, how are you going to tell your story? I said, we have this budget. We have to explain them. Very thinker approach.
Yeah.
I said, but what's your story?
It's also kind of a safety blanket. I did a good job. I said it the way it was, but you're not taking it.
And it's my favorite dish. It's not the favorite dish of the other person. So I give you an example how you can frame the story. And you can say, okay, when you look back into last year, how our business developed, you can see this and this and that. And I'm quite happy to have this conversation, a yearly conversation with you right now. And I'm happy to talk about what's coming next. And yes, we have to even talk about the things that are not so fine in the next year, because we will face budget restriction of 10%. This is very important, because it's important for the substantial quality of the budget of the whole company, and your contribution is really needed. And as you know, I reserved a little bit of money for at least one Christmas party this year. Maybe they'll not be in summer, but before Christmas, a small one. But now I would propose, let's start the engine and move on with the employee appraisal. So what I did is, did you realize it? I started with imagination, then switched to feelings, then facts, then opinions, then I had some fun, and then some.
So what
actions.
You're saying is you can appeal to all, if people are in different stages, you can appeal to all of them.
Yes.
And partly you do that through a storyline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton did it because TB consulted him in his first presidency when he applied for it. And what Bill Clinton learned is, there were several interviews out there on YouTube. He was asked one question from the interviewer, and he answered in recording.
And he assessed
he answered in 6 different languages. So he told the story. So why? Because he wanted to make offers to the audience to get a connection. Because first you need the connection, then you can talk about the content. And this is what you asked me about the meeting. So how to deal with it? I have to get into contact with the different people, and then I can talk about content.
But this is brilliant. So what you're basically saying, so let me go back to Bill Clinton. What you're basically saying, if you're aware of the PCM model, right?
Yeah.
And an interviewer, you can see their interviewer, you can see their body language, you can see their question, the wording. You can basically assess in which one of these 6 frameworks they're in, right? And respond in the appropriate way.
Correct. So there's one example. I had a CEO of a company. I facilitated a workshop, and I'm a base thinker, so I'm logical, organized, and I keep my time structure. And I saw that the discussion that we are leading will break up our time schedule. And I did this to the CEO. So we come back to this later with this movement. And he immediately did this and said, no, now we have to talk about this important topic. And I immediately know, okay, he's now approaching the persistent distress. Strong opinion. He's starting to attacking me a little bit. So this is what we call first degree distress. And with this, based on this observation, I thought to myself, hey, Uwe, be careful. What I did is I contacted him in the correct way to get back my connection. So what would you, from your point of view, recommend to do first to keep the time schedule? And we were back on track because I asked this person for his opinion, and nothing happened. And this is so fascinating. Before PCM, I would have explained him why it's, from my point of view, so important to follow this time schedule, and this discussion will not lead to the end, and now I'm my distress pattern and have endless sentences, and this would escalate then in a fatality. This is how PCM works. So I'm observing and then offering the right channel with the right words, the right tones, with my right perception. But this means that I have to change my inner attitude. I have to be a little bit more flexible and move away from my usual way of perceiving the world.
What you're saying is resonating with me, because like I said, I've done a couple of workshops where recently my big issue in the workshop was that we've had a number of different workshops and they've not really been fairly productive. We didn't come out with action items. There was a lot of ambiguity still, and not a lot of clarity. Still a lot of this vision, mission stuff but no, let's get it done, right? I think Steve Jobs once said that that's one of the biggest illnesses in modern management, to think that the vision is 90% of the work.
Yeah.
It's maybe 3% of the work, right? The work is the work, right?
Sweating.
So I remember I used probably a thinker approach, and created a very strong structure, and I pushed people through it. And I think the overall workshop was fairly successful, but I did create a certain amount of distress with the people. And this is making me think, I think they kind of got over it, but that's not the idea. It's not about letting them get over it. The question is, are you reaching out to them? Are you changing your
this Corona time brought us a lot of online business.
Yeah.
And what I learned is, when I'm conducting an online workshop or meeting, I always want to see the people. So they are not on a black screen.
A lot of people don't want to.
Yeah, but I do not care. But this is the rule for my
I agree with you, but they do that intentionally so they can stay anonymous.
Yeah, because why I'm going to do this? Because when I'm talking, I'm throwing baits all the time. Communication.
Yeah.
And then
you're trying to get feedback, cues.
Yeah, and then I'm having a look at the people. So how's the reaction? There's one guy looking like this. Then I know, okay, this is rebel distress number 1.
Yep.
This person is trying hard to understand me. So what I'm going to do, I will make him, after a few sentences, when I'm through with my thing, I will make an offer to this person to get back into contact. Like, I'm offering some funny statement. Hey, it's a cool shirt that you're wearing.
Yeah.
And then he started to laugh. We have back connections.